Now let's talk about some of the other things that are required for child nutrition. One is that every district must have a local wellness policy. This policy must be written by the LEA. So what is a local wellness policy? It's a written document by the school. It establishes a healthy school environment. It promotes students' health and well-being. It is required by the Healthy and Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010, and it addresses unique needs of each school under the school district or the LEA. So the wellness policy requirements, it is required that you have a team. You have to it has to contain policies. It is required to be available to the public. You have to implement those policies, and then every 3 years you do have to assess your wellness policy to see if any changes need to be made. So the first thing that you need to have is a team, and a lot of people use your Healthy and Fit committee. You can use them. You just have to show us that you talked about wellness at least once or twice in your meetings. The team it can be formed of parents, students, the school food authority employees, school nutrition program employees, school board, school administrators, teachers of PE, school health professionals, and anybody in the public. The content of the wellness policy is goals for nutrition promotion, physical activity, and student wellness, nutrition guidelines for all foods and beverages sold at the school, and standards for all food and beverages provided but not sold. So really, this is what the school is stating that you allow and you don't allow, especially when it comes to nutrition of your district. We always tell people too, if you do have fundraisers, to always check, or anything that you want to do, just check with your wellness policy, because it might be an allowable thing to do, but your school is choosing not to do that. There are some grants out there, especially one with TSET, that you can get a lot of money for because of your wellness policy. So you want to make sure that you are following your wellness policy to the best that you can, because if you go outside of that, you don't want to screw up some grants and stuff that you're eligible for. You do have to have a policy for food and beverages marketed at school, and permit input from parents, students, school staff, health professionals, school board, and the public. Again, you have to inform and update the public about the policy. So we always tell people, put it on your school website. Maybe you have a child nutrition page, you can put it out there. And anytime you do update it, you do need to have the updated one online. One thing that I mentioned to some schools is I would always keep the original up there, and then you could show any assessments that you did, because you have to make those available, and then also any updates to the policy. So let's just say you have your original one, and then you put updated and the date that you updated it, and it just shows us that you have been following the guidance that requires you to assess it at least once every 3 years, and to update it and make it public once if you do make any changes. Again, you do have to have public notification, so inform the public every year of its contents. You may have it in your policy, your handbook, or again, you can put it on your school website, social media, a newsletter, or again, your student handbook. You do have to have somebody to administer it to make sure that there is oversight, that people are following the wellness policy. It's really good to have widespread buy-in by the school staff and your community, and ensure the district is following the written policy. Again, there are grants associated that you can get because of your wellness policy, so you want to make sure that everybody is abiding by it and why it is important for them to follow the wellness policy. And again, every 3 years, the district must conduct an assessment. We do have a copy of an assessment that you can use. It's a one-page assessment that you can do. It's only due once every 3 years. It's called the assessment report. Again, we have an example, and then we have one in our other documents. Just update it as needed, and again, make it public aware of the assessment. And again, you can just post that one form if you would like next to your wellness policy, showing us that you did assess it. We do look at the wellness policy when we come out to do an administrative review. We have to have a copy of it. We have to have something showing the responsible parties for reviewing and updating. So again, I'd ask for the committee names, and a lot of times it was the Healthy and Fit Committee. It has to have the list of stakeholders and potential stakeholders and how they're made aware that they can participate. A copy of the district's most recent assessment, and documentation to show how the recent assessment was made available to the public. Again, I would post all of that online. Now, when it comes to the one that says a list of stakeholders, and how is anybody, because it is supposed to be made available if anybody wants to participate in the wellness policy. I also suggested that in the section wherever you put your wellness policy, you can put, like, if you're interested to join the committee, or if you would like to help with the wellness policy, please email, and then have them email somebody. That way they do and are aware that they can participate in helping with the wellness policy if they would like to. Next we have is Smart Snack and Fundraiser policy. So this is the nutrition standards for all foods and beverages sold to students during the school day. What must meet these Smart Snack standards is any food and beverage sold to students at school during the school day. And so what the school day is from midnight up until 30 minutes after the bell rings. And other than those foods provided as part of the reimbursable meal program. Examples include if you're selling anything a la carte in the cafeteria, if you're selling anything in a food store, if you have a snack bar, a vending machine, or just a plain fundraiser. Foods and beverages sold during fundraisers unless they are not intended for consumption at school. So what this really is for, Smart Snack standards, is if I give somebody money and I'm expecting to consume it right then and there. So it's not meant for blue and gold sausage. If you're selling cookie dough, if you're selling pizza kits, it's really for anything where you exchange the money and you intend to eat it right at that time. So how can you tell if what you're serving does meet Smart Snack standards? We have what's called a Smart Snack calculator. And this is the website for it right here on the screen. And we also have this website, if you go to other documents and go to competitive foods or Smart Snack, we have the calculator there that you can click on. It will take you directly there. If you don't have a label, you have to use the label to do it. If your item is made from scratch, you may need to calculate the nutrition information. And you could also use, if you have approved software, such as say NutriKids or Premier Edge or whatever you do to use it for your nutrient analysis. If you're selling things that meet Smart Snack standards, you must keep information on file. So what it is once you have the nutrition facts label, you will enter that information in the Smart Snack calculator. And it will print, if it meets Smart Snack standards, it will print something out for you. If it doesn't, it will not print anything out. We do have to see that information when we come out for review, because you can only sell things that meet Smart Snacks. We do have something that can exempt it, but I'll talk to you more about that here in just a moment. So fundraisers and Smart Snacks, we do not regulate anything that is a night or a weekend. So if it's 30 minutes after the bell rings, or if it's on the weekends, it does not have to meet Smart Snack standards. You cannot consume during the school day is not regulated, like cookie dough, pizza kits, blue and gold sausage. And Oklahoma does allow for exempt fundraisers. So what exempt fundraisers are is Oklahoma, we allow for 30 exempt fundraisers per site per semester, and each exemption is only good for 14 days. So if you have like a PTA and they want to sell popcorn, and that popcorn does not meet Smart Snack standards on Fridays, then one of those exemptions would take up 2 Fridays. So it's only good for 14 days. Even though they're only choosing to do it 2 of the 14 days, it's only good for a 14-day duration. Now, if you choose to have exempt fundraisers at your school, you have to have a written exempt fundraiser policy. Yours can be different. Maybe you don't allow for 30 exemptions per day. Maybe they're not for 14 days duration. What is your policy? You have to have a designated contact for each site. So someone has to regulate and make sure that people are following those exempt fundraisers. And that if you don't have, you don't go over the 30 if that's your policy. Exempt fundraisers are prohibited from being taken place during the school lunch or school breakfast program or after school snack program, if that's what you're serving. So if you have a vending machine, snacks, student store, just a plain fundraiser where they're selling no-bake cookies, and you cannot do it during a meal service for the school lunch program, school breakfast program, or after school snack. Now, if you are selling an item that does meet Smart Snack standards, it can be sold in competition with the school lunch or school breakfast program. But if it does not meet Smart Snack standards, you cannot sell it at the same time during school. And this does go again for a la carte. So what is interesting with Smart Snack is there are a lot of things that are served in the reimbursable meal line for the school meal program, but they don't meet Smart Snack standards. So if you have a problem, maybe you're serving a chicken sandwich. You, as a cafeteria person, you can serve that chicken sandwich that day, a la carte. You can sell it because you have it in the reimbursable line the same day as you have it in the reimbursable line or the day after. But if it's a different chicken sandwich, then you can't serve it. It has to be the exact same one that is going through the reimbursable line. Now, there are hiring standards and professional development with child nutrition. This does apply to all school nutrition employees. If you're hiring, it is required that every single school district have what we call a child nutrition director. The school designates who that is, but every school has to have somebody that is a director. And there are hiring standards based on that. And the hiring standards are based on the school district's enrollment. We do have a handout that you can see requiring the directors, what the director has to have based on your school's enrollment. If your school enrollment is less than 500 students, you can get approved for somebody that may not meet the requirements, but you have to just contact our office. And that's the only thing that we have. But every other school, you do have to follow the director. Whatever it requires for that to hire that director is what you have to have, except if your SFA is less than 500 and they don't meet the requirements, you just need to contact Jennifer Weber and ask for permission, just kind of give her some information about why you want to hire this person as your child nutrition director. Now, again, every school district does have to have a child nutrition director. Now, people think that when they go with the food service management company, well, that's my director. Well, if you hire a food service management company, the food service management company has to have a child nutrition director, and so does the school district. There has to be somebody at the school that is making sure the food service management company is doing what they're required to do. So no employee can be paid both SFA or food service management company. That's not segregation of duties. So they can only be paid by one or the other. Because again, you can't have someone be like, well, I'm going to monitor the food service management company when I'm on school time, and I'm a food service management company now. It's conflict of interest, and it's not segregation of duties. So there are the hiring standards, but there's also professional development, and this applies to all child nutrition staff. So it's only directors that we have to make sure that they follow the hiring standards. But professional development is education hours that are required for every employee of child nutrition. It depends on what you are. We don't dictate if you're a director, a manager, or staff. It is dependent on how many hours that you get. Each school does have to keep track of hours, and this is a part of the administrative review. Now, we do have key topics. We have nutrition, operations, administration, communication, and marketing. Now, we don't really, and I can't think of any type of a training that you would have anywhere. It doesn't have to be from our office. You can have training. We do provide a lot of training, but you can also get training from ICN. You can get training from, maybe you go to a commodities meeting. Maybe at your school you're doing bullying or bloodborne pathogens. Those all count as professional development hours for child nutrition. They all apply to your job. So we can't think of any topic off the top of our heads that would not apply to child nutrition. And so any training that you do, it will go toward your training for that year. And not just that, but maybe this past year you had 20 hours of training. If you do go over your training, you can also carry that over to the next year. So you can only carry it over 1 year. But again, we do provide tons of training. ABVM alone is 6 hours. Then we do verification, which is an hour. We do, we'll do low income report, which is an hour. We do tons of training throughout the year. We do have a monthly call that we call a school program call, and we have some Q&As and we have some walkthroughs. Those you do not receive credit for. They're not really a course, they're just kind of a walkthrough or a Q&A. But if it is out on OSDE Connect or on Zoom, we will let you know if it does not give you a certificate. But most of our trainings that we do from our office, you will get a certificate for. And we also have professional standards. Again, since child nutrition, the school has to have a director and the food service management company has to have a director. They both are required to have 12 hours of professional standards training every single year. And again, it is required. This course is required ABVM. It is a larger training. And when you go to in-class, it's a 6-hour training. When you do it OSD Connect, it's a little bit not quite that long because you don't have the questions that you're getting from other people, but it is required that every year someone has to attend ABVM. It is also required that every person helping with child nutrition, even if it's a volunteer, a parent, whatever, if they're helping in any way with child nutrition, they are required to have civil rights training. Again, that is located in OSD Connect. We do that one time per year via Zoom, but after that, again, it is an OSD Connect. So that's a required training. It is required for the director to have food safety training. You have to have at least 8 hours of training every 5 years. And then if your school does offer versus serve, and if you're a high school, you're required to be offer versus serve, then you do have to have offer to serve training every single year. Again, we offer that. We do that one once every 3 months. And it is also an OSD Connect, and it is another 1 hour training. So you have tons of opportunity to get training for child nutrition. Now we're going to go through some of our programs that we have. We also do an after school snack program. We do a 1 hour training on after school snack. We have a lot of people that do after school snack, and a lot of times the people that handle after school snack program are not the people, they're not cafeteria. It's usually like a teacher or somebody else. It's an after school program, and usually the cafeteria staff is gone. So this is just a brief overview of the program, but if you want to know more and to make sure that you're doing it correctly, you can attend the 1 hour class. And again, we do that about once every 2 to 3, about 3 times per year. So you can attend that, and we have that training also in OSDE Connect. So after school program, again, it is tied to the school lunch program. So again, the only day that you can do the after school snack program is on an accredited school day. So again, if you're a 4-day school and you want to serve after school snack on Friday, you cannot do that because it is not an accredited day. If you participate in the after school snack, then you are required to have 2 on-site reviews per year when you're operating. So you have to do it during the first 4 weeks of operation and then just another time throughout the year. With the after school snack program, every school district can participate in this. Now it depends, you have to be in the National School Lunch Program, you have to provide care in an after school setting, and you also have to include an education or enrichment activity. Now the reimbursement does differ depending on your school. So if you are over 50% free and reduced at that site or one of your feeder schools, then everybody does eat free. If you are under 50% free and reduced at that school site or even the feeder schools, then they can participate in the after school snack program. However, they do get reimbursed at the free, reduced, and paid rate for those that are enrolled into that course. So it does depend upon your site based on their free and reduced percentage. We have no waivers in place for the 50%. So in the past, everybody, before with COVID, everybody could get the free rate, but no, we're going back to the old traditional. If you're over 50% free and reduced at that site or a feeder school, then everybody is free. If you are less than that at that site or a feeder school, then everybody, if you can be on the program, but you have to claim by free, reduced, and paid. So you do have to have snack. You have to have 2 items, and I'll show you the list. The snack has to be eaten on site. You have to serve children. You are allowed to serve children up to age 18. And then there are required records. We have to have the documentation showing that you have that you're over the 50% free and reduced. If you're charging everybody free, you would get that from a low income report. We need attendance and meal counts. You would have to have food production records. We have to know what the child ate that day and how much. And then again, your on-site reviews, which you have 2 per year, 1 within the first 4 weeks of operation, and then anytime after that. This is the requirements. They just have to have 2 per day. So it can be milk, vegetable, or fruit, bread or grain, and a meat alternate. You have to have 2 components per meal for the after school snack program. And one of the last programs that we have available every year is called the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program Grant. Now, with After School Snack, anybody can participate with this. In the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Grant, you have to apply for it, and only a certain amount of schools will be able to participate. It does go by free and reduced, so the higher free and reduced you are, the better chances you have. However, we have some years that not a lot of people want to participate, so you may not be high free and reduced, but you still would qualify because we have to go by free and reduced, but it just depends on who all qualifies for that year or not. Now, the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Grant, it allows schools to purchase and serve fresh fruit and vegetable to students, but it cannot be during the school lunch program, and it cannot be during the breakfast program. It has to be outside normal meal times. The funding that it is it's based on your enrollment at an elementary site. Only elementary sites can participate. So what we try to do is we try to go closer to the $50 per child. So that way more schools or more people can participate in it. It is a cost reimbursement program. So if you spend $300 on fruits and vegetables for that month, we will reimburse you the $300. You are allowed to charge off labor as well. but most of the time people are using it just for the fruit and vegetable. This is not the DoD fruit and vegetable program. Again, this is a different type of a program, and you are serving fresh fruit and vegetable, but again, it has to be outside of the school hours. Now, you can apply for this. You apply for this every year. It's in CARS, and it's only good for 1 year. It follows the federal fiscal year, so it's only good from October through September. You have to apply this year by August 26th, and it usually every year it's around the end of August when you apply. You do have to follow proper procurement, but a lot of times you have your staff in the cafeteria that have already done procurement. They're procuring it for you, but we just have to make sure that you realize you still have to follow proper procurement procedures for the fresh fruit and vegetable program. Now, we also have people that are on at risk, and we just want to give you some reminders. If you are on at risk, or if you want to be on at risk, that at risk is a different program. It is under our child and adult food care program. It is not under the school lunch program. So it's called our CACFP, and those reviews are unannounced, and we do them every 2 to 3 years. Your school review is every 5 years. But with CACFP, it's every 2 to 3 years. So we would be in your school much more often than doing your school review. Multiple schools have not met CACFP at-risk meal patterns. So we will take back money for that. If you are unsure, contact our office or contact your program specialist. We do have monthly trainings on the CACFP meal patterns. You can go, if you are in CACFP, you log into that system and go to the training calendar. We also have it in OSDE Connect as well. We are right now gearing up for our 2023 because CACFP is on the federal fiscal year, which is October to September, not July to June like the school one is. So we are in the middle of starting our FY 2022-23. Right now it's the end of August. So probably November, December, we will have that out on OSDE Connect, and it will just be meal patterns. But right now we are doing a full training manual, so it is a much longer span, but we do make that available to you as well for at risk. We are finished with ABVM. We thank you guys so much for attending today. If you do have any questions or comments, you can write us here in OSDE Connect, or you can call our office or contact your program specialist, and we're here to answer any questions that you might have. I hope you guys have a wonderful school year and the best of luck to you in fiscal year 2023.